Loos Park is the site of a Civil War battle fought this time in 1864. It was called the Gettysburg of the West. It's a very popular park here in Kansas City. Battle between the Confederates and the Union. The war between the states, American Civil War, Confederates. I believe we're on the I don't know, I have to read up on it. Every year I forget more. But legend has it that, hold on. Making great TV here. I had to make sure my mic is working. But legend has it that at the aftermath of this battle, the wounded were taken to a field hospital, the John Warnell House, which is just to the south here. What, about a mile maybe? And on the 23rd of October, you can see the ghosts of Civil War soldiers traveling south. Gotta zip up my jacket here. Last year and the year before, it was very summer-like here. Very warm. Now it's kind of coolish. Or in other words, it's fall. I usually do this at night, so I don't notice any signs. Here's a sign over here. I don't know if it pertains to this. Oh yeah, it does. Tour stop number 5, Confederate position. The Confederates started on the north side of the field, ironically, and the Union was on the south side. Busy streets. we can cross. Maybe. 9. And if you go that way, there's a mass grave. Was a mass grave. And apparently, when they buried the dead, they had to do it quickly. So they couldn't identify them or anything. They just kind of marked down, the identifying marks and put them in a mass grave. Otherwise, the disease would spread and everything. And dug a big hole and put all the bodies in it. And then later, relatives would come up and they would exhume the grave, and people would claim the bodies and bury them properly. So the mass grave isn't there anymore. But that's pretty gruesome. Oh, and the people that buried the bodies were the local farmers and people who lived in the area. Most people did not want to have much to do with what went on here. They just wanted to live their lives. And the Civil War was pretty rough on people in this area. This is the site of the decisive engagement in the Battle of Westport, October 23rd, 1864. Yep. I'm recording on a separate device to make it easier to edit later. It's hard to scrub through all this stuff on your camera, find the good bits. And that's looking into the battlefield. The Confederates came up out of Arkansas, mostly in Texas, places like that. And there was a dream to take Missouri out of the Union and bring it in on the Confederate side. Several things weighed against that. Many Missourians didn't want to be in the Confederacy, many of them being German people. And the legislature voted against it, but the governor, having some tyrannical tendencies, sounds familiar, decided he wanted to take Missouri out of the Union, bring it in on the Confederate side. I think I need to change cameras. If I can only figure out how to do that. Oh, there it is. I remember. is. Oh, Phil, let me focus. Okay. I like the other one better. So every year we come out here and we walk to the Warnell House, and we hope to see some ghosts on the way. But the only scary, spooky things we ever see are people's Halloween decorations usually. You have to forgive me for that. The setup does not lend itself to doing this. This camera is blocking the controls on my other camera. And it gets pretty dark pretty fast. We'll cut through here. Essentially, this park is the battlefield, although the battlefield was all over Jackson County, Missouri. The Confederates were soundly defeated, and they tried to, by the time we got to this battle here, they were essentially just trying to escape and bring all the stuff they looted from Missouri back into Arkansas. Essentially, it was a big robbery. And when the Union caught up with them here and kicked their asses, they ended up leaving pretty much without their baggage train. The Civil War was pretty hard on Missourians, especially on the west side here. After William Quantrill sacked Lawrence and killed a bunch of young men and boys there, tried to burn the whole town down, the Union general decided that everybody that couldn't prove their loyalty to the Union in the, I think, 4 westernmost counties would be forced out, their property seized, and what couldn't be seized would be slaughtered or burned. And there was a lot of bitterness because of that. Yeah, it's getting so dark I can't see with that. That wide angle lens is good for stability, but it's really bad for low light performance. So the Confederates were chased all the way down back to Arkansas and Texas, and they never came back after that. Most of them deserted anyway. They knew it was over. It was late in the war. Also, on their way south, they also stopped at another little battle site where they actually committed an atrocity, a massacre. So these weren't great people. Harry Truman's mom was on the side of the Confederates, and they actually lived in Grandview, Missouri, that's south of here, in a little farmhouse. Now, I was talking about Harry Truman and his mother. Harry Truman, when he met Bess Wallace in Independence, her family was definitely pro-Union. And I don't know how much that led into Bess Wallace's mother looking down on poor Harry, but she did. And Harry Truman joined the Army, became a captain of artillery during World War I. And, he was riding a horse. I guess, he wasn't cavalry, he was artillery, but they pulled it by horses. And he was in his uniform. And the uniform of the U.S. Army was pretty much the same uniform they wore during the Civil War, the blue uniform. And he come home to visit his mother and rode down the long driveway. To the house wearing his blue uniform on a horse. Well, the last time his mother had seen a blue uniform on her property, they came to take everything she owned away and burn the house down and everything else like that. So when she saw her son coming up, she intercepted him and she said, "You get off my property wearing that uniform." It occurred to me, I haven't cleaned my lenses off either. It's very humid. So better. Let's see here. Should have brought my light. Here's the main part of the battlefield. Well, you can't see much. Here's a cannon they have out here. And this is the Union position where they whipped the ass of the Confederates for them to never be seen around these parts anymore, the Gettysburg of the West. Battle of Westport. Alright, so my low light performance on this app is terrible. That's what I get for not bringing my There we go. Let's see if this helps a little. At least let us see the cannon. I think I've done this before and had the same results. Every year I think I can get these DJI cameras to live stream, and every year I find out that's one thing they don't do well at all. Looking down the cannon. What's this say? 10-pounder Parrott gun. And here's the main plaque for the Battle of Westport. Oops. Stabilization is good on this thing, but there's quite a delay. I should have brought my other light, but didn't think about it. Yeah, like I say, the only thing spooky, other than being out here at night, because I've seen a lot of negative activity that happens in all parts out here. A lot of people hanging out. You know, speak of the devil. Doing that kind of thing at night, and then, of course, spooky things on people's front porches. Let's cross here. Because I can see a Halloween decoration now. Ooh, jeepers. Lots of big expensive homes in this area. This way is the battlefield, and we're coming up to Warnell Road, which is named after John Warnell, of course. Early settler, well, not so early, 1850s settler, maybe earlier than that, I don't know. Early settler to this area. And I believe they left by the time of the Civil War. But the wounded were brought down this road from both sides. And his house served as a hospital. And of course, you know, morgue and everything else too. And of course, I guess the typical horrific things you would see at a Civil War battle hospital were there, the gruesome stuff. You know, limbs stacked up like wood and amputated limbs. So far, no apparitions, unless you count that guy standing in that front yard wearing orange an apparition. I don't think so. His clothes look too modern. If I see anybody wearing mid-19th century garb, I'll think I'll probably run into a reenactor. They have been doing some things at the Warnell house to commemorate the occasion and, you know, and the spooky season that it is. But oops, I don't need that to turn off. However, I haven't heard anything. We'll get there and we'll see if there's anything going on, but I passed by there earlier. It didn't look like anything was happening. Ooh, spooky. It is Halloween, of course. Quite the busy street too, so I need to be very careful that I don't end up becoming a ghost haunting this area, because, you know, maybe that'll jumpstart the I'd like to see more people doing this. That would be fun. It's good exercise. You know, maybe people in these houses can do an early Halloween or something, or people dress up like Civil War garb, or even if they make fun of it a little and dress up like Civil War zombies, at least there's some awareness, some attention being brought to. I think in past years there's been a little more more decorations out, and I don't know. I wonder if people are just not in the mood, or feeling poor, or what. All right. Make sure I'm watching these people, because you find out the hard way really fast that people don't watch for you. Sorry about the shakiness and the blurry, because you know, stabilization is good, but it's not perfect. So far, no ghosts yet. I never do see ghosts. There's a pretty church. But nothing that I could see that I could say I can't explain. Being in an urban environment, there's quite a lot of sewer smells coming out of the sewers. They're trying to do a lot in the city to fix things, but I don't know, the sewers haven't quite made it on the list yet, I guess. A couple of mayors ago, a mayor tried to warn us about that, but his message wasn't very popular. He didn't make very many friends, and they voted him out. But he was right. You know, when you're sitting at a restaurant eating, and the smell makes you not want to finish your food, There's a serious issue with that. Ooh, there's a big old jack-o'-lantern over there. Wow. Huge. If anybody's trying to talk to me, I haven't quite figured out how to turn the comments on. Oh, maybe if I hit that button. Nope. I don't know. Let's do this. Facebook. Feed. Post. Hopefully that didn't knock me off. Share to Facebook. That's a good sign. Copy. URL is copied. I haven't used this app in a long time, and that's the only thing I could get to work. Of course, I didn't try really hard. I always say I'm going to get that DJI to work, and every time I try it, I look at all the tutorials and everything. It never wants to do it. I think YouTube just doesn't like it. It's my theory. They've made it difficult. I've seen a few more decorations around here. You can see that purple over there on the porch. I'm coming back up this way after we visit the Warnell House. Warnell House is a museum, very well preserved. It's one of a couple of houses in this area that's preserved the time before the Civil War. I think one is the Warnell House, one is the Majors House. I don't know, is Majors in Westport? The Minor House, I think. That's if I'm remembering it right, they were some of the people that did the Pony Express. Or maybe it's the Majors. Major, Minor, who knows. Now this house. That's something to look at. Now if I am not able to live stream it because my battery dies because I'm stupid, didn't bring the right cable, then I will get a video of it and put it in my YouTube shorts. That sounds funny. Put it in your shorts, or put it in my long form YouTube video on my channel. Don't shuffle your feet. Lots of joggers out here. Every so often you see people with their pups. I would have my pups with me, but Jimmy's health isn't so great. He's diabetic and blind, and this is the time when he has to eat and get a shot. He has to eat and get his insulin at the same time every day, and the missus is very, very, very good about that. And I think Jimmy is living a lot longer than he would normally, mainly because he is very well cared for. Oh, there's some Damn ghosts over there. No. More yard decorations. Woo. This light will change colors as soon as this car hits the magnet, which they did. Maybe I could try. See if that looks okay. The light is bright enough around here with all the street lights. I'll do wonders for my stabilization and a wider angle. I remember a year ago, we were getting ready for a big election, probably one of the biggest. And everything seemed peaceful and kosher at the polls. I remember election day was actually kind of pleasant. I personally am not happy with the results of that election, but what can you do? I've learned a Japanese word for that, shogunate. It is what it is. Try better, try harder next time. There are a lot of things happening in our country now that I'm concerned about. And, being on the Civil War ghost hunt kind of brings those feelings up to the top. These houses are pretty. Oh, there's a ghost. Woo! Trying not to go too close into this yard, but woo, there's a ghost, but it's not one of the ghosts that I'm looking for. Ooh, sorry about that jerky motion. It's mine. Ooh. That's hazardous. Bunch of lines, I guess, ready for the pickup by the garbage truck. See which way this person is going. Yep. I am wise to wait. I have been run over by a car. It makes you a little bit gun shy, extra cautious. And I was in a crosswalk in broad daylight. I was paying attention. I even waited for all the cars to pass before I walked across. And I walked across with the dogs. This was in Westport. And this one car came up to the intersection, not at right angles to the crosswalk. He came from in front of me, barely stopped, and then he turned like he was a bat out of hell and ran right into me and the dogs. I had to get surgery for it. I'm very lucky that I'm alive. I'm very thankful it wasn't a 1970s death machine with metal bumpers. It was a 2000, I can't even remember what it was, but I remember it was a year 2000 car, but it had a plastic rubber front end, and the car was golden brown, not new. It was a pretty ragged car. And the guy did stay. He was apologetic, and he even came and met me and returned something that fell off of me. My gimbal actually fell out of my hand and landed between his windshield wiper and his windshield. He returned that, and he said he had insurance and everything, but when my insurance company called his insurance company, they were like, oh no, he let his insurance lapse. So my insurance company had to foot the bill. Unfortunately, they did. And he said he didn't see me because at that time of the morning, the sun was in his eyes. So what can you do? I guess you just accept that response and be thankful that a lot of things worked out. However, I am now permanently scarred and handicapped from that. I definitely can't run anymore. All right, we have reached the end. This is coming up here, the John Wornall House and Museum. Let me switch back camera. That's better. Now I have to, there's no good crosswalks here, so I have to go across the street the dangerous way. So definitely make sure that it is clear. Here is the John Wornall House. It was used as a field hospital for both sides during the Battle of Westport. Lots of cars. Too many coming this way. Yeah, fine. Any hunts? Oh, I can see the... Thanks for writing. No, I never see ghosts. I never expect to. Although I will tell you, and I have a picture of it in my archive somewhere, that I went into this house here to do a story for the TV station I was working for at the time, and I shot video in the mirror, and I didn't see it while I was shooting video. Okay, now I can cross. But you can see clearly in the cracks in the mirror and the dirt and everything what looks like a woman wearing black, and she looks like she's clutching her head, and pretty horrific picture. But as far as seeing Civil War soldiers walking up and down to this house, let's see, Shadows of the Past. Oh, they do have a, that's cool. But it's already over. Night Tours and Spookeasy. And I apologize that it's so dark. Oh, you know what? My light went off. How do I find that? Whoops. flash on. There we go. My other camera's great, I just can't get it to live stream. Now if you can see any apparitions anywhere, it'll probably be here. Ooh. This is an old house. I believe it was built in the 1850s. I don't know, all the information is right here. It's talking about Civil War. Field Hospital. Oh, here it is. Well, is this the Wornall House or? No, this is in Savage Station, Virginia, 1862. Appropriately named. Transition development. Oh, this is after when the city spread south. And probably the only spooky thing I might see tonight will be a security person coming up and asking me what the hell I'm doing. I'm ghost hunting, sir. The back of the house is accessible. And this house is pretty typical of the style of house from the time, what do they call it, Federal style? The Wornalls. Came to Kansas City 1843. This doesn't say when the house was built. I think this big metal placard does. Again, apologize for the lack of light. Oops. Probably make things darker, but make things more visible. Here's the back of the Wornall house. This back area would probably be the kitchen area. And again, you know, they say the reason why there's supposed to be ghosts have been, you know, Civil War soldiers coming here is because this is where they would have walked to get to the hospital and get treated. Because I tell you, when you are suffering, it's all you can do to get relief. All right, let's see what the sign says here. Built in 1858. Wow. Let's see if there's more light on the other side. I think both sides of the sign say the same thing. Let's not trip over this wall here. There we go. Built in 1858 by John Wornall. 640-acre farm. In the center of heavy fighting on October 23, 1864, after the last Confederate charge to the north towards Westport was repulsed, this house was used as a field hospital for both Union and Confederate wounded. So yeah, I'm not making it all up. And we'll get one last look towards the house this way, and then start heading back north to our car. Operated by the Warnell Majors Museums. Okay, so the house to the south is the Majors house. I was right the first time. John Warnell House Museum, operated by the Warnell Majors Museums. All right, now we're heading north. Oh yeah, let's keep it on that camera. It seems to be working better light-wise. I don't know if the new iPhone is much of an improvement over this one. This one's a 15. My wife has a 16. There's a few minor things. It seems like they come out with a new phone every year, whether they need to or not. Now they're up to the 17, and I don't know if I see much in the phone that makes it worth the investment. I'm pretty happy with this one, but prove me wrong. Other than the cars and everything, it's pretty quiet around here. Ugh. Mostly it's just fun to walk around these old neighborhoods and think about history and look at the beautiful old homes and look at the Halloween decorations, because you know, it's probably my one chance to kind of do something that I like to do and on my own. And maybe I should do a Christmas tour in a nice lit up area sometime. My sister likes, she's a member of Powell Gardens. Alright, this house over here is pretty off the charts. If I remember right, these two houses always do it up. And then there's one up here that's really spooktacular. Look at all the scary lights. Woo! And all the Halloween decorations. Yeah. I hear sirens off in the distance. Let's see, let's get on across while the getting's good. I don't like this street. It's too wide at the mouth. The cars will just swing in and not even look, especially at night. And dumb me, I'm wearing dark clothes. Hey, my mic is still working. Whether or not this app is picking up the mic I'm using or not, I don't know. Sometimes things got to be difficult. It should be there, but there's no guarantee that it is. If I really wanted to guarantee it, I'd probably hook up the wired mic, but too much infrastructure in that. I should be pointing more at houses, although there's the one house we saw on the other side of the street. You gotta watch out for that low tree branch hanging over the sidewalk there. I have to fall behind. And I tell you what, Civil War was a bad time. And unfortunately, there's a lot of brain trusts around who are romanticizing it and want to bring that time back, I guess. But, you know, this country needs to get over it and just move on. So when I did a few things with reenacting groups, reenactors will like if there aren't enough Confederates, for instance, some guys in the Union uniforms will change their clothes and become Confederates, and vice versa. However, I noticed a tendency among some Missouri Confederate reenactors. They would not put on that Union uniform for anything. And I began to realize these people are not reenacting. They're living it. And if they could make it happen again, they would. And there's a lot of people around here, not just Missouri, but in the United States, who have that mindset. Here's probably the best decorated house in this stretch right here. As we were driving by it, my wife was saying, "Ooh, look at that." She was really amazed by it, especially the ghost hanging in the tree. Oh, no, you don't. Yeah, I remember this house does it up every year. Although I think the ghost is something new. Ooh, cool. I think this is the best They